Only on 2, he was once convicted for rape and then later for the murder of an off-duty cop. Both decisions eventually tossed out over legal mistakes. But if you think James Hill views himself as lucky, just wait until you hear what he's telling our Chris Tye only on 2.
I was never there. The authorities knew I wasn't there. You know, I was a 17-year-old in high school.
When 2 armed robbers struck this Holiday Inn, they had a blue cloth bag and told this lady to stuff it with cash.
Officer Pasalic realized something was wrong, and he came around from in back of a partition where he was immediately shot.
Police believe this Chevy Impala was the killer's initial getaway car. After the funeral, Hammond officers were eager to resume the hunt for the killers.
41 years after that hunt began, it's still not over.
Look, a police department responding to the injury or death of one of their colleagues. It's a force to be reckoned with.
The force of Hammond police and the Lake County prosecutors settled on then 17-year-old James Hill. Not a shooter, but an accomplice, they said, the getaway driver behind the wheel of that 73 Impala.
That was a school night. This happened 2 or 3 in the morning.
Were there alibis? Was there any sort of evidence that you weren't there?
Well, my alibis, they had passed on when this case came to trial.
They had all passed because 38 years had passed between the murder of Officer Pasalic and the murder trial of James Hill.
They bring the case to trial in 2018. He was convicted.
Convicted and sentenced to 47 years after his lawyer says 5 witnesses told the jury that they saw Hill that night and he was either in that car in question or had a blue bag on him that was used in the robbery.
Well, it turns out that 7 years before that testimony in front of a jury, they were on videotape or on audio tape saying, I don't recognize any of these same pictures. I'm not sure about that car.
And that didn't make it into the trial?
It didn't, because it was never turned over to the defense.
If those recordings were played in court, he wouldn't have been convicted?
That's my belief.
On May 12th of this year, Lake County, Indiana prosecutors and the judge who heard his case agreed to overturn Hill's conviction. 2 reasons. 1, a cloth used in the Holiday Inn murder was tested after Hill's trial, and his DNA was not on it. And 2, because those recordings of future witnesses contradicting their future testimony were withheld from his lawyers.
We can't explain why it wasn't turned over, including we don't know that it was intentional.
In legal circles, this is considered a violation of the Brady Rule. It's the reason he's free today. And in what may just be a first of its kind in American legal history, this is the second time in his life that James Hill saw one of his convictions reversed because of the Brady Rule. Just weeks before the Holiday Inn murder, a rape occurred at a Hammond gas station. Hill was convicted, served 17 years. But again, key evidence, this time from Hammond police, was not turned over to his attorneys. He was released, his conviction overturned. This has to be a 1 in a million shot if we are to believe that everything happened such that you were not part of either of these.
Well, everything surely clearly states that I wasn't.
On both cases?
DNA don't lie.
Do you feel as though you are the luckiest or the least lucky person that you know?
I'm the least luckiest person I know.
To have been twice convicted, different offenses, and to have those convictions set aside on the basis in each case that the state failed to turn over evidence of innocence, it's just incredible.
Well, I would feel fully exonerated once they didn't dismiss this completely.
And you're confident that will happen?
I'm prayerful that would happen.
What's your message to the system here?
Don't rush to judge. This was a rush to judgment call that had nothing to do with me. It's just like they was just wanting to clean the books up.
That was Chris Tye reporting. We reached out to over a dozen friends and colleagues of the officer. They did not want to speak about the case. James Hill goes before a judge next month to determine if he will be retried for the crime. In an unrelated case, he is suing for wrongful imprisonment.